Second draft. Second draft. You got to give yourself more credit. It was your second draft. But anyways, okay. So Kyle has KC. Kaz, who you siding with? Baltimore at KC.
Man, I really hope I'm wrong on this, but I'm probably not gonna be wrong on it. I'm taking KC. I think this would be a really good game for Baltimore to win. I mean, obviously, you beating the defending Super Bowl champions. It's like, yeah, but a statement game for Baltimore. I think they show up. I think that they come out guns blazing. But I mean, Kyle said it best, dude. They didn't get any worse. And adding in Xavier Worthy, I'm glad that he brought that up because, dude, I drafted him in like I'm okay. I'm gonna sound kind of crazy. I'm in seven fantasy leagues. 7.
I did that. I did that a couple years ago, and it was miserable. Now I have to. My max is 4. My ideal number is 3, and I'm at 3. But I know what it's like.
I do 6 a year, and I've done it for plenty of years. It just is what it is. And this year,
clearly I have a problem. I'm a gambler. You guys are just fan. Maybe that's probably what it is.
No, that's the problem. Is I'm a gambler too. I'm in those. I'm in pick'ems. I'm in weekly pick. I'm in all kinds of stuff. I'm just throwing money everywhere. Like I got it. I ain't got it like that. Man. I don't. I'm throwing money everywhere. Man. So already got a bet on. Look, I'm out here. We're doing our fantasy draft. I know it's kind of off topic, but doing our fantasy draft. There's 2 Packers fans in there. I'm like, okay. So any of you Packers fans want to bet on the game on Friday? Already got bets on that. I can't help it, bro. I got a problem, man. I need to call 1-800-STOP-GAMBLING, whatever it's called. But anyways, no, I'm gonna go with KC though, man. I mean, dude, like I think the Xavier Worthy addition is going to be a problem for a lot of teams. Andy Reid is going to scheme him in perfectly, guarantee it. And speed kills. And now you got Mahomes there. Remember last year, Kels had kind of a down. He had a down year. He's finished like 900, like 80 some yards. He's like 13 yards off from 1,000. First time in like who knows how many years. Like what? Like pretty much his whole career besides like his like early years. Like for that to happen, people are going to think that okay, is Kels washed? He's been bringing up retirement, possibly hinting at it, and they're going to come out there.
Is Taylor a distraction?
Yeah, it's Taylor a distraction. He's going to come out there and get about 8 to 9 catches. Going to have like 105 yards and probably 2 touchdowns for no reason. And then there's going to be an Xavier Worthy massive touchdown, and whatever else they do on the Chiefs offense is going to be enough to put away the Ravens. I think the Ravens defense will play well for a start. I think the Ravens offense will, they'll do they're going to do what they're going to do, right? But at the end of the day, the Ravens still don't have an elite receiving core. Far from it. We don't know what we're going to get out of Mark Andrews at all. He's coming off a significant injury, and he's not a young tight end anymore. Okay, he's getting up there. All right, so you got that. You got what's his name? Zay Flowers. Okay, awesome guy. Is he a true number 1? Who knows? And then you have Bateman, who year after year we're still trying to figure out if they can get this guy a prevalent role in their offense. It's going to be a problem. The Chiefs' defense is still really good. The Chiefs' offense got better. The Chiefs have to take this game, and I would also take them to take the spread -3 easily.
It's at 2.5 now.
2.5 now? Yeah, I had -3 on ESPN, whatever.
Damn, ESPN bet changing the odds. So, Toddy, are you going to make it 3 for 3 right now?
So are we just going to, like, gloss over the fact that the Ravens got Derrick Henry? Like, that's not a thing? Are we just – their run defense – their offense got legitimately better. I think Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP of last year, you have Zay Flowers, you have Mark Andrews coming up. Isaiah Likely, a guy who I don't think a lot of people were talking about. I like the Ravens in the spot. Last year, the Chiefs have kind of proven to be a little bit weird in September. A couple of years ago, they lost to the Colts. They lost on Thursday night last year against the Lions in prime time. I think this is a great spot for the Ravens to kind of, poke their chest out a little bit. They are dogs in this game, obviously, at plus 130. That'd be a cool little bet if you guys want to bet that game. But I do like the Ravens in the spot. I get it's Patrick Mahomes. They did get better. But the Ravens also got better as well. I think the loss of L'Jarius Sneed on the outside is going to be something to watch out for. But I do think that the Chiefs defense will still be able to maintain. But I think L'Jarius Sneed was a very key piece who can kind of lock up your best receiver. I like to see that going forward, who's going to be the guy to step up. But I do like the Ravens in the spot to win this game.
I will say this real quick. You understand that Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are probably going to combine for about 40 rushes together, if not more than that. So
absolutely,
the whole missing of L'Jarius Sneed, not to just you go too far on this week 1 matchup. Sorry, Shaun, but the whole thing with L'Jarius Sneed is like, yeah, they're going to be missing him, but it's like there's not going to be enough ball to go around because you're right. They have Derrick Henry. He's getting his touches. On top of Derrick Henry getting his touches, Lamar's getting his rushes. I mean, that is their strong point when it comes to the Ravens offense. So we'll see. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe Lamar will take advantage of the secondary of the Chiefs being a little bit, what do you want to call it? Weekend, but I don't know, man. It's gonna be that's the only way I can see the Ravens winning this is if they really cannot stop Derrick Henry and Lamar, and it's a possibility. But
with those two, they could use Derrick Henry to where they're draining the clock, and Mahomes won't have as many possessions. They'll be controlling the clock with Derrick Henry, Lamar. So that could be an angle that they're taking from.
If I was Harbaugh, I would do that.
Yeah, and I would as well, and that's why I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens in this matchup. Maybe it's because Toddy and I are still feeling the pain from the Super Bowl and we refuse to pick the Kansas City Chiefs, or we have seen the same thing, and Toddy took the words right out of my mouth in regard to adding Derrick Henry, because we've seen the Baltimore Ravens as one of the best, if not the best, right there with the 49ers at rushing the football. It's the Niners, it's the Ravens when it comes to the best rushing teams in the NFL consistently over the last 5 years. And while the 49ers just recently got the best running back in the NFL, and now they have the guy, 49ers were kind of piecing it together for years. That's what the Baltimore Ravens were doing for years, whether if it be J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, every name that you could throw under the sun for the Baltimore Ravens. And a lot of it has to do with injuries.
Devontae
Freeman. Hey, even Dalvin Cook.
Think so.
Peyton Mitchell. Yep. And even Dalvin Cook got signed by the Ravens at the end of last season, if I remember correctly. Pretty sure he's a Cowboy now. But yeah, Dalvin Cook got signed by the Ravens, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I vaguely remember that. And so the point is that the Ravens have had a revolving door at running back, and it has a lot to do with injury, but it's also because they haven't found the guy. Now they have, even if he's entering his 30s, Derrick Henry is still a bruiser, and he fits in perfectly in this offense. He will be a great complement to Lamar Jackson, which will open things up for Lamar, not only to find lanes to rush through, but also passing lanes to connect on. I'm not a huge believer in Zay Flowers as a number one wide receiver, even though Jay Vox in the YouTube comment says Zay is fire. I'm not a believer in him as a number one guy, but he has this season to prove me wrong. I'm going with the Ravens, so that knots us up at 2 picks apiece for each team. Kevin will be the ultimate tiebreaker in this, and we'll get his picks later. Everyone will be able to see all of our picks on the Stats Over Politics social media pages. You can find us on Instagram at Stats Over Politics, as well as TikTok, and you can find us on X at Stats or Politics to see the graphics of our picks leading into this weekend's games. So, guys, as we keep things moving now for episode 111, we get to Friday night football, as Kaz was talking about earlier. And because this is your team, Kaz, we're going to start things off with you, as the Green Bay Packers play against the Philadelphia Eagles in Brazil. So it's not a home game for either team. I saw a report that A.J. Brown said that they're not allowed to walk out on the street because things are so bad in Brazil, but they're holding a game there. And so, Kaz, I remember your picks from when we went over the NFC East, but who do you got in this matchup?
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to say I have a couple acquaintances and friends that I met at tailgates. They're in Brazil right now. They're partying. They're partying hard. So for it being super dangerous, I'm looking at some Snapchats and some tweets. I'm like, very interesting. You're on beaches and whatnot, doing some wild and crazy stuff. It is what it is. But what I'll say is this, man, I'll keep it real. I think the Packers are going to play a very good game against the Eagles. I think that both offenses are going to put up a significant chunk of points. If I were you, I'd definitely take the over on this game. I don't think that the Eagles offense is going to be stopped. I think that the Green Bay Packers offense with Matt LaFleur leading the show is going to find a way to carve up the Eagles defense, who is still trying to figure out what we're doing. We have a lot of weak weak areas in our defense. There's a high ceiling for our defense, but it's more so we need to see it to believe it, not like, oh, look who we have. So, you got an aging Darius Slay. That's my guy. I told you guys this last week. I mean, I love the guy, you know what I'm saying? But he's 33 years old, turning 34 in January. You got Quinion Mitchell. He's a rookie. We'll find out how good the guy really is. And then we have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at safety. And then we're kind of weird in the linebacker position. And we're in a new defense with Vic Fangio. And then on the line, we got Josh Sweat on one side. We got Brandon Graham that also added to the mix. And we have Bryce Huff, which is great. But again, we don't know how this is going to work out. We haven't seen it yet. So the Eagles defense is a huge asterisk. If the Eagles defense clicks, this is going to be a very bad game for the Packers. If not, it's going to be very high scoring. And I probably would maybe kind of sort of geared toward taking the Packers to cover the spread, but the Eagles should still win this game. So I'm going Philadelphia to win. We have way too much going on our offense. I think that our team camaraderie is a lot better than the Packers. The Packers are a team that I have winning their division. You guys know that based off our the video last week, but I don't think that they're going to be good enough to take down the Eagles, and this is me being completely unbiased. So we'll see. I think the Packers will put up a good chunk of points. I think the Eagles will just put up a couple more.
All right, Kyle, who do you got in this matchup between the Packers and the Eagles in week 1 in Brazil?
All right, so for sure, I definitely agree with Kaz. That's going to be a shootout, I think. I think they're going to put up a lot of points. And honestly, I think whoever wins the game, it's really going to depend on whose defense plays better, because they both have great offenses. So the Eagles secondary is a little hurt right now. I know Bradbury just got hurt. I know he hasn't been great, but he's, you know what I mean?
They're not going to miss.
Trash bear.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm for surely going to give it to the Eagles though. I think they have a little bit more of an edge. I think they're a little deeper than the Packers too. They're still pretty young. Jordan Love's second year as starting quarterback. So yeah.
All right, Toddy, that's 2 for 2 on the Eagles, but just like it was last time, are you going to go away from the pick so far, or are you going to make it 3 for 3?
Yeah, so this game, the over-under is 49, so I do think it's going to be a higher scoring game. The Eagles are favored by 3 points. Once upon a time, they were favored by 1.5. Line jumped a little bit. I do think the Packers have a shot. I think this game is going to be very close. I think both offenses are pretty prime. Jalen Hurts signed his extension. I don't know if it was in the offseason or it was last year, during the season last year. But Jordan Love obviously is like the highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now from an APY standpoint. I do think the Eagles are a more talented team here. Obviously, we get Saquon Barkley, we get A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. And I'd like to see what Jalen Hurts looks like under this new Kellen Moore offense. I think he really just had one good year under Shane Steichen, and now Shane Steichen is in Indianapolis, obviously. So we'll like to see Hurts under a new coordinator. Can he play well with all the weapons that he has for him? So I'm going to take the Eagles in the spot. I get it's at a neutral site in Brazil, but I think the Eagles have the edge in this game.
Well, we know who Kevin is going to pick. Don't even have to reach out to him. We know who Kevin will pick. So that makes it 4 for 4 on the Eagles. And even though we're not a big prominent show as of yet, I hate when I'm watching a network and they're doing the picks.
Everybody
see the picks and it's everyone picks the same team. And also the thing that I've been an NFL fan long enough to see the trend, but specifically last year when we were doing these picks, I think I went like 7 of 16, like something atrocious. And it's because I really was like, all right, I'm going with the better team, going with the better team. As of right now, I think the Eagles are the better team. But the mistake that I made last year is I picked the better team in every matchup when in week 1, weird-ass shit happens. It's in Brazil. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I'm politicking. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. I'm 100% politicking, but I'm going with the Green Bay Packers on this.
I hope you're right, Shaun.
I hope I'm right too. So now, guys, let's get to the next game, which was talked about earlier on the hotline, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Atlanta Falcons. I am going to start things off here, and I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. The reason why I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons. Also, I'm sorry. One thing I wanted to add, aside from all my politicking, is the one name I didn't hear in regard to the Packers. Josh Jacobs is now a member of the Green Bay Packers. I do think that is going to be an upgrade from Aaron Jones, because Aaron Jones was kind of fading out in his last couple seasons with the Packers. If Josh Jacobs can stay healthy, I really, really like that move, and he could thrive in LaFleur's offense. Now, getting back to the game that I was just starting to describe, was the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to go with the Falcons because Kirk Cousins is a huge upgrade. He should maximize all the weapons that have been underused over the years. Arthur Smith, now the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Arthur Smith, if you ask me, was the reason why the Falcons did not use Kyle Pitts properly, or even Bijan Robinson. And so, with Arthur Smith on the Pittsburgh sideline, I'm going to go with the opposite team, which is the Atlanta Falcons. And also, the Steelers would win this game if they were starting Justin Fields, a Georgia native. However, they're not. Kyle's boy, Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited
is starting for.
He worships him.
So I'm going to go with Atlanta. But Kyle, who do you got in this matchup between your former QB, Russell Wilson, and Kirk Cousins and the Falcons?
As much as I do love Russ, I got to definitely give it to the Falcons. I just feel like their offense is going to be crazy this year. I know a lot of people are like, when they talk about Bijan Robinson, a lot of people are either super high on the guy or they just think he's not that good. I'm definitely one of the ones that are really high on him. I think he's going to be a crazy talent, and I think even with their defense, I think he's still going to be way too hard for them to stop. And then you said as well about Kyle Pitts is actually going to get to be used properly because, like, Kirk Cousins with his connection with TJ Hawkinson, I think they're going to do something. So for surely the Falcons.
Yep. And Kaz, who do you got in this one between Pittsburgh and Atlanta?
Yeah, I think it could be one of those weird games where somehow, some way, Pittsburgh wins it 13-10. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that Pittsburgh does season after season, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. This game's either going to be very low scoring and Pittsburgh wins, or it's going to be a blowout and it's going to favor toward the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, we all know, if you guys don't know, I mentioned it last week, Kirk Cousins puts up numbers, dog. Just call it what it is. He's done it for like a decade. He puts up numbers. And now he just left a team where he was going to put up even more numbers again for another season with the Vikings. You know, coming from Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, that's amazing. He went to another team that has better running back play. Drake London ain't no scrub. He ain't no Jay Jettis, but he ain't no scrub. And I still believe that Kyle Pitts is not a bust. I don't know if he's going to be what he was drafted for. You know, he was like number 8 overall, I think it was.
Highest drafted tight end ever.
Yeah. We might have missed on that, but I don't think he's a bust, man. You gotta find a way to use this guy. And I think that that Kyle Pitts is going to find the end zone this game. I'm gonna say it right now. I think that he's going to have an awesome game, and I think Kirk Cousins is going to just carve him up. Bijan Robinson, touchdown? Yeah. What's that?
Kyle Pitts anytime touchdown?
I'm on that. I'm with that. I think it's gonna just light a fire under the Atlanta Falcons fans' asses. I'm like, okay, we can do this. We've been waiting for it's year number 4 now. We can do it. So I think it's gonna be a Kyle Pitts show. I think Bijan's gonna do what he does, but I think that Kirk Cousins is gonna show the Atlanta fans that, hey, all you needed was a competent quarterback. Kirk Cousins is a competent quarterback. He's still in the latter end of his prime years, but I mean, if you look at his numbers, you can't say the guy has fallen off really because that's an injury. So Atlanta should blow them out quite comfortably.
All right, Toddy. I don't know where Kevin's going to go on this one, but right now it's 3 for 3 on Atlanta. You going to keep that going?
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's on the hotline, so we got Atlanta. I kind of gave my analysis earlier. I do agree with Kaz that Kyle Pitts is going to score in this game. I'm trying to find what his prop is to score. But I do believe we see an improvement. I mean, I don't think Kyle Pitts is a bust at all. I just think he had Desmond Ridder as his quarterback. So I mean, I wouldn't even blame Arthur Smith all the way. I just think that it's hard to score when Desmond Ridder's throwing you the ball. So, you kind of got to make with you, and he also had Taylor Heineke. So I don't know if you guys want to make that. I mean, you're comparing apples to oranges here, but I mean, he's kind of trying to do it by himself. If he could throw the ball to himself, he would. But I mean, it is what it is there. I don't see it. It's not popping up for me. But if you don't want to take the spread in this game, the juice is -150 for the Falcons. I would lay that. Maybe probably put it as part of the parlay, but yeah, give me the Falcons.
Yeah, and as Jaevon says, Kyle Pitts needs to block, but he's a talent, and good tight ends need good quarterbacks.
Once upon a time, me and Kevin argued that Kyle Pitts was better than Dallas Goedert. It was a while ago. I think it was 2 years ago. This was like a real heated debate.
Well, this is now going to be his opportunity to really prove it. And, as of right now, Kevin probably looks like he won that argument just based on the production that we've seen from Pitts through his first handful of seasons. However, now he has a good QB to match what we think are his good tight end talent. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that. Next game, Arizona at Buffalo. Kyle, who do you got and why?
Definitely going to take Buffalo. They definitely had a regression at their wide receiver spots with Diggs leaving. So I think their wide receiver one right now is honestly still in question. It's either going to be Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman, I think. Shakir will probably be the two. But I like James Cook a lot. I think he's going to have a good time running against that Arizona line. And Arizona's Kyler Murray's a good quarterback. He's pretty seasoned vet, but Marvin Harrison, I don't know if he's going to be able to translate like this early in the season. Later in the season, don't get me wrong, he's going to get his, but I feel like it's going to take him a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Nah, Lil Spoon's going to be on that. Don't worry.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And we'll get to the Seahawks in a little bit. I want to mention one thing about the Seahawks in week one that is completely unrelated to what they might actually do on the field. Kyle, you might have seen it as well on social media, but I definitely need to shout it out when it comes to the Seahawks in their week one game. But Kaz, who do you got with Arizona at Buffalo?
Yeah, man, I took Buffalo. I think I'm going to be wrong on this one. I don't believe Buffalo at all this year. I'm sorry. I don't really have a reason to. I mean, literally, it's just Josh Allen. You understand that, right? I get it. James Cook's a great running back. I don't see he's a great running. He's a good running back. You take away Josh Allen, what do we think of the Buffalo Bills? I mean, he's literally a one-man wrecking ball. So I'm like, Arizona, you're probably not going to stop Josh Allen. You're probably not going to stop that offense. But you do have, you got James Conner in the backfield. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., who might take a couple games to adjust. He might come out and just take the league by storm. Who knows? But I think that Kyler Murray is going to come back and play very decent. I think he's going to be the same Kyler Murray we saw as of 3-4 years ago. That was a decent quarterback. He was a good quarterback. I don't think that he's done by any means necessary. It wouldn't make any sense. Like, what has happened to him to where he's done? Like, he's not figured out or anything like that. So I think there is potential for being a decently high-scoring game if Arizona's offense can click. But apparently, the sports betting gods see something in the Buffalo Bills. They have -6 right now, if I'm not mistaken. And I can't go against those odds, man. I mean, just Buffalo at home, Josh Allen, week one, he's going to single-handedly have probably 4 all-purpose touchdowns. So, yeah, going to go with Josh Allen and them boys comfortably.
Toddy, what do you think about those odds in this matchup between Arizona at Buffalo?
I like Arizona. I'm very low on Buffalo this year. I feel like this is a good spot for Arizona to kind of come in and shock the world. Buffalo kind of regressed in a lot of skill positions, especially at wide receiver. They lost a lot on defense as well. They lost, I believe, Poyer their safety from last year. Obviously, losing Stephon Diggs. and Gabe Davis. So Josh Allen is going to kind of have to come out and put the team on his back and figure out a way how to win. I get Arizona. You could argue that, besides Marvin Harrison Jr., who he's going to be throwing the ball to. Well, he does have James Conner, I think, is a reputable back. Michael Wilson, a guy coming off of injury, who at one point in time, it was Michael Wilson and Puka Nacua early in the season last year before Michael Wilson got hurt. I think he's a guy to definitely watch out for. And Kyler Murray's got a lot to prove this year. And I keep forgetting the head coach's name for the Arizona Cardinals.
Jonathan Gannon.
Jonathan Gannon, I think, towards the end of the season, proved a lot. I thought his defense played well down the stretch. They ended up beating the Philadelphia Eagles to get and help secure the 49ers #1 seed last year. Thank you, guys. I think we sent them a bottle of champagne or something like that. But I do think they're going to be – I think this offense is going to be kind of something to watch out for. You got Kyler, you have James Conner, you have Michael Wilson, and you have Marvin Harrison Jr. And if you are feeling a little bit – want to sprinkle some money on Marvin Harrison Jr. to score a touchdown next week. He's plus 160. Feel like those are really good odds. But I do like the Cardinals in the spot here. I get it's on the road, but this will be one of those games that you'll be like, oh, they're favored by almost minus 300. I'm seeing minus 280 here. They're favored by a touchdown. Cardinals have come kind of shock the world a little bit.
I think the Cardinals will shock the world. And for our YouTube audience, they might have seen my visual reaction when I heard you pick the Cardinals. And I was disappointed just because I wanted to be the only one on Cardinals Island. Because the thing about this matchup is everything about it screams to me. Buffalo at home. Everyone thinks the Cardinals are going to suck. All of these things. And because of exactly what I said earlier, and Jaevon basically repeated it in the comments saying week 1 is always the shit or whatever word you want to plug in there. Just things don't make sense in week 1. Like, yeah, you have a team like the Lions who get a big win in week 1 last year and they emerge and they go on to play for a conference championship. And I don't have another example off the top of my head, but then you have a team that had no business winning week 1. They do. And then they end up being the shitty team that we all thought they were going to be. There's some, like, I got Buffalo making the playoffs as a wild card team. And even though I don't think Arizona is going to be a dumpster fire, I definitely think they're going to be a lot better than a lot of other people are saying. And just because of the madness of week 1, I could see Kyler going in there and getting an upset win, just like they did at the Link when the 49ers were able to clinch the #1 seed. And Cass is just like, how many more times are we going to repeat that? And so anyways, I got Arizona winning this matchup in Buffalo. And so that splits us 2-2. And we will get Kevin's pick on that coming up. And then we will get that on the graphics. And so we will find out, and we will no longer have a tie. Kevin will break it, but we will wait to find out his pick. As we do that, we move on to the Titans at the Chicago Bears. Toddy, I'm going to start this thing with you because you're very high on those Chicago Bears, so much so that you have them winning the NFC North.
Yeah, so I'm on the Bears here. The line has jumped tremendously in the last couple of weeks. They're favored by 4 points. They're juiced on the money line, minus 200. Over-under is at 45. This was another game that I was kind of thinking about putting on the hotline, but didn't do it. I don't know why. There's a lot of games that I like this week. But kind of going back to it, I do like the Bears in this spot. I think Caleb Williams is going to go off. He's going to put the league on notice. A bunch of people are going to be like, all right, this Bears team might really be a problem this year. And I just think he just has way too much to just work with. He has Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and the rookie in Rome Odunze. It's kind of just match made. They got DeAndre Swift on the team, so I'm trying to look and see what his over under is on yards. I'm seeing minus 235 at minus 150, 245 minus 118. 255 plus 104. I like that. That's really, those are good numbers there. Will Levis,
where are you getting your odds from, bro?
I'm looking at Bet Online. I'm looking at Bovada. That's what
okay. I was just curious. That's all.
Yeah. But kind of going back to the Titans do not have DeAndre Hopkins in this game. They got a new head coach. I think their defense, their secondary is like really, really good. I've said that. I've been consistent on that. I said that last week on our predictions podcast. Although I don't think they'll be very good. I do think their secondary is pretty good. I think their offense is kind of getting a lot of it's getting slept on. I do like Tony Pollard. I do like Calvin Ridley. I think Tyler Boyd is on this team as well. But they are missing DeAndre Hopkins, who I think is going to be a bigger part of their offense. Don't know what Will Levis is going to be, but I do think their offense should be formidable. But I don't know what Will Levis is going to be. But I'm going to definitely take the Bears in the spot.
I'm also going to take the Bears because of everything you just mentioned with the Titans. That's a question mark. Even though Keenan Allen is questionable to play week 1 for the Bears,
I think
they have a bevy. And he very well could play, and they have a bevy of options, even if he's unable to play. And you mentioned Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. Also, they now have DeAndre Swift at running back, and so I like Chicago in this one as well. Kyle, where are you going in this matchup between Tennessee and Chicago?
Well, both of you guys pretty much summed it up pretty well, or like pretty much everything I was going to say about Chicago. I feel like this year they're going to be like last year's Texans and just kind of have their way with it. So they have, if you think about it, they have a great skill position or a great player at every skill position. Even their tight end, Cole Kmet's still a dog. I think he can still get it done for sure.
Gerald Everett.
They have Gerald Everett now? Is that where you?
They sure do.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, 1-2 punch at tight end.
This is a ball knower. This is a ball knower podcast.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Ball knower university.
Ball knower university, baby.
But yeah, and then Titans, I don't got much faith in Will Levis. I'm not going to lie. And then you said DeAndre Hopkins out week 1, so they really are only going to have.
He's going to miss like Ridley. The first 4 weeks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it looks like they just have Calvin Ridley, a washed, or not even washed. I'm not high on Tony Pollard at all. I think Tajay Spears is going to be the guy. Give him a couple weeks. Yeah, I think he's going to be the guy. But definitely the Bears.
That's honestly a
do they cover the -4? You think they cover the 4 points?
Yeah, they're covering.
Okay.
I think they blow him out.
The thing that kind of sucks for Tony Pollard is that, like, when he was really breaking out, he was still behind Zeke technically as the RB2, and then he finally had his 1 year. But
he looked like he lost all of his explosiveness once he got the starting job.
He broke his foot.
Yeah.
So there you go. Then that might be
ankle
injuries.
That was in the playoff game when they played the Niners a couple years ago.
Yep. Now that was his 1 year, and it's very unfortunate. But it's extremely unfortunate, and that's why running backs don't get the respect that they deserve anymore, because basically their value is highest when they're on that rookie contract, and maybe things need to be changed in the CBA going forward so RBs can maximize their rookie contract a little bit more. Other than that, they're basically getting screwed because they're not giving free labor, but they're giving a very big discount at their highest capacity. And then when it's time for them to get paid, it's more so about paying them for what they did rather than what they're going to do going forward. And that's why we've seen these contracts significantly drop throughout the years. Kaz will potentially see that this year with Saquon Barkley and the Eagles, whether or not he can get back to what he once was at his peak. And hopefully he hasn't peaked. I mean, as a 49ers fan, politicking, I hope he peaked, but it's very likely that he hasn't. So anyways, Kaz, in all seriousness, Tennessee at Chicago, who you got?
Yeah. Chicago. I mean, I want to know, and we don't have to look this up right now, like, when's the last time Chicago has been favored by 4?
Right.
Like, how many years?
Right.
How many years has it been that Chicago has been favored by more than 2.5, even if they were favored? You know what I mean? So I think that 4-point swing is telling us something. The offense, I mean, come on, pretty much Caleb Williams, you were already NFL ready 2 years ago. You're in the NFL now. I've seen enough in 2 plays, 2 of his big highlights that I saw. I'm like, go out there, play confident football, win a pretty solid, okay-ish matchup for a team that's rebuilt. You know what I mean? Like, because the thing is, you don't want to look at a team like Chicago and go, oh, they have this guy, that guy, this guy. It doesn't matter. They still sucked last year. So, you can add all these players and it may not equate to much. It might.
Who was the quarterback? Do you
to,
remember? I forgot.
The old boy from Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? But but no. So like, I think that, and I was high. Actually, funny story, quick one. I was actually high on Justin Fields. I was pro keep Fields, surround him with weapons, get Marvin Harrison Jr. alongside with DJ Moore. I was all on that, and DeAndre Swift. I was all for that because I thought Justin Fields still had a little bit of promise. But
give Justin a chance.
They went with Caleb. And I think he's the better quarterback, obviously. And
I gave him a chance. Shaun.
It's going to take a lot for Chicago to lose this game. It's going to take a lot more for Chicago to not cover this spread. So probably my easiest pick on this list, Chicago all day.
Toddy says that the Bears gave Justin Fields a chance when he was 20 yards in the backfield every single snap because he didn't have an O-line to even give the man a chance. But, that's my Ohio State bias. My Ohio State bias is shining through strong. As we keep things moving, we got a couple of less significant games coming up. Well, maybe this one just because of
There's
one
a couple
of the
shit games on the slate.
Yeah, so we got New England at Cincinnati. I don't think there's much analysis that needs to be given here. Toddy got the Bengals. I got the Bengals. Kyle and Kaz, I would assume you guys.
Who's
have
starting
the
for our? For the Patriots? What's starting quarterback?
Jacoby Brissett.
Brissett is starting.
It's official now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the starter. Yeah.
Oh, I do want to add, I've said on this podcast several times, I want to watch one of the exciting things in this game for the rookies, the receiver rookies, Jaevon Baker, Jalen Polk. Those are the two guys I think will be better. They'll be better for the receiving core, but I don't think this team is going to be good.
I hope Jalen Polk is something because I picked him with my last pick in one of our fantasy. I think it was the Stats Over Politics League that I picked him last in. Kaz, you were going to say something else?
No, I was going to agree. Cincinnati all day. I don't really think we needed to dive too deep into this one. I think the only way that the New England Patriots have a shot at this game is if somehow, some way, that offense finds a way to put up numbers because Joe Burrow and them boys.
Or Drake May plays.
Or either way, it doesn't. I mean, Jacoby Brissett might be sitting out after the first quarter, or after the first quarter ends. Who knows? He comes out those two picks. One's a pick six. They might say, screw it, get the kid in there. But regardless, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, Joe Burrow.
Tyler Boyd,
or not Tyler Boyd, but who they have running back now?
I forgot.
Zach Moss, Chase Brown.
Zach Moss, Chase Brown.
I'm trying to remember the rookie's name they drafted for the Bengals.
I forgot Tyler Boyd was
gone.
But it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. Just come on, just come on. Let's just call it what it is. Cincinnati all day, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Even with it being week one, I don't think
Jermaine Burton from Alabama, the Alabama receiver, that he is going to be a problem. He's basically going to be T. Higgins' replacement, but he is raw.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I'm glad that we were unanimous on this one because I think the only way for the Patriots to win this game is if 15 minutes before the game, Jacoby Brissett gets his lung punctured. So then Drake May has to go into the game a la Justin Herbert, Tyrod Taylor against the Chiefs in week 2, like 5 years ago. Or 4 years ago at least. But anyways, we all got the Bengals in this one. So the next game, this one is less of a toss-up. This one was also featured on the hotline. So Toddy, I'm going to start things off with you since you already gave some analysis for it, and that's Houston at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I got Houston in this game. I just think CJ Stroud is just on a trajectory. I have CJ Stroud winning the MVP this year. I'm very high on the Texans. I think this team is stacking because they know in the future they're going to have to give CJ Stroud $70 million, whatever the cap is in the next 2-3 years down the road when it's time to pay CJ. So they're stacking up for right now. I think they have one of the best rosters in the league. I'm going with the Texans in this game.
All right, Kyle, who you got?
I'm also going to take the Texans. They really showed what they could do last year, and they got nothing but better this offseason. So they're just going to do what they do. especially to Indianapolis. I like AR a lot. I got him in probably like 4 out of my 6 fantasy leagues, so I think he's gonna have a good year.
I had him last year and he got hurt. Didn't
Yeah, but the first 4 weeks, 24 plus points every week, he was balling.
Yeah,
but I just don't think that's gonna be enough, especially with their wide receiver core. They got Pittman, Alec Pierce is all right. Josh Downs. I like Adonai Mitchell. I do like him.
They got a good receiving core. I like their offense.
I do like him. Yeah.
Good, but young.
Exactly.
Good, but young. Definitely unproven, and so that's currently with my pick. I'm also going to go with the Houston Texans here. I'm not as high on them as Toddy is when it comes to CJ Stroud winning MVP this year, even though he's my guy from Ohio State. But I definitely think that that Houston's going to win this game in Week 1 because it's a big rivalry matchup, and so that's kind of why I'm leaning back. And I've also been stalling for like 10 seconds as I tried to scroll backwards because I want to give a shout out to Grey Wolf, who said earlier, say his name and he appears. I believe in CJ Stroud. Not many people will understand that reference, but shout out to Joe Hendry, who had a great showing at NXT No Mercy yesterday, WWE reference. But, shout out to Grey Wolf for that one. So, Kaz, are you going to make it unanimous? I think Kevin's also going to go Houston here. But are you going to make it unanimous for all of us and go with Houston?
Nope. Going with Indy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Why? First off, I was just looking at the Ravens Houston playoff game, right? I get it, Lamar Jackson, but look at the stats here. I'm on your I'm on your show. Stats are politics. So I'm trying to do the right thing here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you make CJ Stroud throw the ball 44 times and completely abandon the run. He accounted for 9 points. All right. Now I get it. It's a playoff game. You're going against the Baltimore Ravens, who were at that time were probably, the Super Bowl hopeful behind the Kansas City Chiefs and the AFC. And I get that, but I don't think that the Indianapolis Colts are going to be some just roll over and dice scrubs, and it's going to be as unanimous as everybody thinks it's going to be. You're in Indy, okay? Toddy already mentioned, you got Shane Steichen out there running the show, and Anthony Richardson's back, and that dude is a baller. That's why he got hurt, because he's a baller. He's a Josh Allen type, Cam Newton type baller. Okay, it's going to take CJ Stroud and also that offense clicking with all these new weapons. Anybody who knows anything about football, you can add a bunch of weapons to a team, but if they don't click, it don't really work out in their favor. There's not enough ball to go around. So we'll see. But I think that Indianapolis at home is going to make a statement. This is, I think, the first upset I took on the list so far. But yeah, I'm going to go with Indy to win. I think that they're going to be well prepared. I think that Texans are going to show up and just kind of expect to put up, 40 plus points this game. That's exaggerating, obviously, but put up a ton of points and put them away. And I think that they're going to come out and punch the Texans in the mouth early and just secure the win. So I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts to pull off the upset at home. Without a doubt.
All right. I
Anthony
like
Richardson, baller game.
I like it when we're not unanimous, even though Cincinnati, New England, it kind of was. That's a gimme. Chicago and Tennessee less, but because of the Hopkins injury, that really kind of puts things in favor of Chicago. So now, guys, as we move on, we get to Jacksonville at Miami in the Battle of Florida. Kyle, where are you going in this matchup?
I don't think there's too much to say about this one. I think the Jags definitely regressed this year, even though they was the only person they really picked up was Gabe Davis. Yeah, you know how Miami's offense is. I think Devon A-Chain is going to be nothing but even better than last year. So I think Miami's definitely got this one pretty easily.
Devon A-Chain, gig 'em. Kaz, where are you going with this one?
Another upset. I think that I'm playing a dangerous game here, folks. I'm playing.
It's week one. It's week one.
Hear me out. It's week one. That's a big one. It is week one. All right. Miami at home. We're talking about Miami. This high-powered offense is only favored by 3.5 points. So it's not like what was it? Arizona Buffalo at Buffalo. They're favored by a touchdown. It's just 3.5 points. And the Jags are not supposed to be a good football team, right? They regressed a little bit. They lost Calvin Ridley. Trevor Lawrence is showing signs of being a bust, kind of, sort of. We don't really know yet, but we kind of know. I just think that there's gonna be upsets, guys. There's gonna be upsets. Yeah. We all know that. It's not gonna go all favorites winning. So with me taking this game, I'm just looking at the spread. I'm looking at the fact that it's Miami. I'm looking at the fact that I think people are overlooking the Jacksonville Jaguars early on. Because they still have ETN, they still have Evan Ingram, they still He's still there, right? Ingram,
I think
yes,
so.
Evan Ingram,
yeah, and he was a top tight end in the league last year. So it's like you can't discredit all these things and just think that they're going to go out there and roll over and die. Their defense, they've showed signs like year after year of playing solid. One year they were really, really good a few years back, but it's not like they're just this incompetent team. They're just a team that hasn't really shown a lot of progression over the years, and they had the one season where they made the playoffs and they beat the Chargers, and that was pretty much the peak of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm just going on a whim here. I'm just gonna take the upset. I think that there's something that Vegas knows that we don't, and that spread's a little bit too close for me. So I'm going Jacksonville to upset Miami on the road.
All right, Toddy, who you got in this matchup between Miami and Jacksonville?
I like Miami in the spot. Tua signed a new contract. I think this offense is pretty high powered early. The weather is pretty right for them, especially them being at home. Tua's probably going to put up pretty big numbers. I think this will probably be a higher scoring game. The over-under is at 50. I'm seeing right now. The spread is a little closer than I would like for it to be, as Kaz kind of mentioned. 3.5. I'm seeing 3 here. You could probably get 3.5 for a little bit better number. I do think Miami is the better team in this spot, but Jacksonville could probably put up points. I do like the addition of a Gabe Davis alongside of a Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. Still have ETN, and you also have Evan Ingram, who was one of the league leaders in catches last year. So their offense will definitely be able to put up points. I'm not sure how good their defense will be this year. I think Jacksonville will definitely take a step back. I think Miami wins, but I do think it'll be a high-scoring game.
All right, guys. Well, we have a couple of stinkers coming up, so let's keep these moving. Carolina at New Orleans with an NFC South battle. I'll start things off, and everything inside of me was telling me that Carolina pulls off the upset in this game. Like week 1, division matchup, all of these things were telling me that Carolina is going to win this game. But as you could see here on YouTube, I'm writing down all the picks for all the games. And as I got a little ahead and I wrote my pick for this game, my hand just wrote NO for New Orleans. So I'm going with the Saints. It's honestly a toss-up for me in this one. The Saints should be better. They have a good defense. Carolina is still very unproven, brand new head coach. And my gut is telling me that Carolina is going to win this game, but I guess my brain went with New Orleans because that's what my hand wrote out was the initials of New Orleans. So I'm going with the Saints in this one. Kyle, how about you?
I don't think there's not a whole lot to say about this one. I'm definitely going to agree and take the Saints just because I feel like whoever's really going to win, though, it's going to depend. It's like Derek Carr versus Bryce Young. So it's really what it comes down to. But
Toddy?
I think the Saints are definitely a better team.
Toddy, you look very unamused.
Give me the Panthers. I'm sick and tired of this fucking Saints team, bro. I can't do it. I can't do it. I like the additions from the Panthers. They add Xavier Legette from South Carolina, who I think is going to be a baller. You add Xavier Legette. His interviews are all time, every single time he touches the mic. They add Deontay Johnson. They still have Adam Thielen, who will be a really, really good number 3. I think Dave Canales will be able to elevate Bryce Young's play. The Saints team last year was just so god awful. Like I could not. It's hard to watch them play. Their roster is really good. Derek Carr is not good at football. So I mean, we could just go down the list for who they have on their team: Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Demario Davis, Honey Badger. They have Marshawn Lattimore. Like they have guys, like they have all pro guys on their team at pretty much every skill position. None of that shit matters if Derek Carr doesn't play well. So I mean, I'm just gonna go off the limb here, and they're plus 172. So I mean, you get a better value there at betting them. So I mean, yeah, give me the Panthers.
All right, guys, who do you got?
Could be wrong.
Before I say who I got,
I don't think you're gonna be wrong.
Before I say who I got, I just want you guys to answer this for me. Valentine's Day is in what month?
February.
Yeah. Have you guys seen that? What did he say? He says, I can't even say February. Hey,
it's definitely from the deep south.
Man, he's a national treasure. But no, I'm gonna roll with I got the Saints. I gotta see it first, Carolina. I gotta see it. I wouldn't be surprised if Bryce Young shows up and says, "Hey, guess what? Fooled you last
good
year.
again.
I'm actually good." I wouldn't be surprised, but
exactly.
I think that New Orleans defense is just a little bit too tout for them right now. Panthers are going to be probably getting better and better each year. I don't think that they drafted Bryce Young for nothing. They're prepared for them to surround him with some talent in the near future, but just not right now. New Orleans, just too much on both sides. So, going with New Orleans to win. Might be close because it is a division game, so y'all know how those games go. So it could be a close game, but I think that New Orleans, despite Derek Carr's potentially trashy performance, should get this win.
All right, so we got another stinker, but before we get there, I did want to highlight one comment that just came in from Jaevon where he says, Jonathan Brooks looks like a stud. I sure hope so, because I drafted him in one of my fantasy drafts yesterday and stashed him away because he's currently on the physically unable to perform list. But if he comes in, he looks like a stud, and he helps Bryce Young, then that is a huge W for the Carolina Panthers. As now we move on to what I deem to be another stinker, and that is the Minnesota Vikings at the New York Giants. Shout out to Wes, who is a noted Vikings fan. You got the matchup of former top 6 overall picks with Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones. So, Kyle, where are you going in this exciting matchup?
All right, I'm definitely a little biased on this one, just because a lot of my fantasy leagues I reached on Neighbors, probably drafted him anywhere from in one league the 3rd to the 5th round.
Wow.
I think he's gonna have over 1,100 yards this year. I think he's gonna be a guy, even with Daniel.
Is he better
Jones.
than Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Yes. You've heard it here first. Yep.
I've consistently been on this podcast saying he's better than Marvin Harrison Jr. I get it. He has Daniel Jones as his quarterback, but coming out of college, if I had a choice to draft the two, I would have taken Malik Neighbors. But go ahead, I'll let you finish.
No, yeah, that's about it though. I feel like Sam Darnold. I mean, shit, you saw how he was on the Niners. He was all right, but like nothing crazy. I don't even with Justin. Well, he's gonna feed Justin Jefferson, but yeah, I don't think they're gonna be able to get that done.
I had to be. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off. I had to be a little dramatic there because Toddy has really been on this with Malik Neighbors, and as a noted Ohio State fan.
You get Malik Neighbors plus 150 to score a touchdown.
Sounds like a good bet. All right. Well, Toddy, Kyle has the G-men, as in the Giants, but who do you have in this matchup between the Vikings and the Giants, Toddy?
This is a classic Kaz grab a coin. I'm going to flip it. And that's
I got the coin out, man. The coin.
That's who I'm gonna pick.
I got my coin out, man. I gotta pull it out before the season starts.
But no, I think think the Giants are bad. I think they're really bad. Like you kind of saw the inside of it on the Hard Knocks episodes that they did on the offseason. I think Minnesota's roster is really good. I like Hawkinson obviously starting on IR. But they still have Aaron Jones, who is a lot of people aren't really talking about the addition of him. I think Addison is suspended. Is he suspended for the first 3 games? I might be mistaken on that. They obviously have Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the league. He's at plus 130 to score a touchdown too. So I do like those odds. I think their team is better. I think their defense is solid. Dallas Turner on the defensive side of the ball, I think, is going to be the defensive rookie of the year. I like, even though they have basically a backup quarterback and Sam Darnold playing the starting quarterback, I do like the Vikings in the spot. They're minus 125 to win.
So, Toddy, to answer your question in regard to Jordan Addison, I don't think he's suspended because all I did was look up his name on X, and there were videos of him practicing this week, and it said that he should be ready to go.
Oh, if he's playing, yeah, that's good then. That's good news for the Vikings.
Yeah, all I can see is Jordan Addison, who's coming off an ankle injury, participated in practice this week. So it looks like all indications say that he's playing, because I know what you're alluding to, where he had a bit of legal troubles. And so Toddy's going with Minnesota. Kaz,
Minnesota!
Who do you got in this game? I know you don't have the notorious coin, but who do you have in this one?
New York. I am going. Got New York. Oh man, like it's for some stupid reason. I just feel like Daniel Jones is going to have a really good game with McNeighbors. I don't know why. I do not know why.
The receiving core isn't bad.
Yeah. Oh no, they're not at all. You got McNeighbors, Jalen Hyatt, and then who's the other guy they got?
Wandale.
Wandale
Robinson.
Fucking dog.
It's like, dude, like it's not bad. Like there's, you know what I mean? Like, the problem is we're blessed in this era of football to see these crazy receiving cores. We forget about regular good receiving cores. Like you take out Daniel Jones and you put in Caleb Williams. Put in Caleb Williams in New York. Does that change that entire offense?
Absolutely.
Think about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, all Daniel Jones has to do, brother, is just play like an NFL quarterback. We don't need anything heroic from you, dog. And I think they're going to be at home. They got blown out badly last year, week 1. I was in Vegas, watched this game by the Cowboys. You guys remember that? It was bad.
Oh yeah,
it was like 40 to 0. It's like I mean, just bent over, bro. I don't think that can't happen again. And I think that Brian DeBall might be on a little bit on the hot seat. So it's like 2 years ago, Coach of the Year. Last year, looked like dog shit. And I mean, you guys made the bonehead decision to sign Danny Dimes to a contract, which is crazy, seeing the quarterback potential in college that was coming around. And you go, no, Daniel Jones is the guy. You got to show something for it. So I think that this is a winnable game at home for New York. I think that they just somehow they get it clicking on offense. And I think that just the experienced quarterback play kind of wins them this game. So even though I don't like Daniel Jones, he's in our division. I don't really care for the Giants. It don't bother me because when have they ever been a problem in relevant years? For my Eagles, it is what it is. But I think that Daniel Jones just somehow, some way plays solid. I'd probably take his rushing yards for sure. He's going to be running for dear life. So take his rushing over without a doubt. And 100% take Malik Neighbors to get in that end zone. And I don't think it's going to take much to beat this Minnesota Vikings team. So Jay Jettis might get, 120, 160 yards receiving. He may not find the end zone, and that's going to be pretty much it for the Vikings. So, yep, going with the Giants.
So, as Jay Vox said on our YouTube comments, Vikings should win. That's basically the same mindset that I'm using to make my pick. The Vikings should win. Sam Darnold is trying to prove that he is still a starting quarterback, or not still, but it's not the Pastronaut. I think it might be Jaron Hall, because the Pastronaut is a member of the 49ers now. So, yeah, I can't even give you an honest answer. But Sam Darnold is trying to prove that he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. Still hasn't really done that, so he's trying. Unlike Zach Wilson, because Zach Wilson has just accepted being a backup, versus Sam Darnold is still trying to be a starter in the NFL. The J.J. McCarthy injury obviously helps him out a lot with that by ending the race that there was between the two of them in terms of who will start. Vikings should win. I'm going to go with J-Vox here, and I'm going to pick the Vikings because they should win. But this is also week 1, so I feel very similarly to my last pick of picking the Saints, where it's like the Saints should win. Will they? Because it's week 1, probably not. Vikings should win. Will they? Because it's week 1, they probably won't. It's the Giants, but I'm going to stick with what my gut is telling me here. So that's New Orleans and now Minnesota. Guys, moving on to our last 6 games that we got here in week 1. Now we're going to the West Coast as we have the AFC West between the Las Vegas Raiders at the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Chargers. And as we know, Raider Nation always infiltrates LA, and they basically turn it into their own home game. And so, Kyle, who do you got in this matchup between the Raiders and the Chargers?
All right. First off, hold on, I got a question. Is Herbert starting? Is he playing? Is he good?
He's questionable.
He's questionable, but he's going to start. I think he starts.
I would imagine he plays.
Okay.
He's been practicing.
I think for surely if he starts, I think it's going to be a better game than people think. I think the Raiders are honestly pretty slept on. They got Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, pretty good receiving core. They pick up Brock Bowers. Zamir White is going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem. He's the only running back they got, and he runs hard as hell. I think the Raiders are going to take this one by storm. I'm going to take the Raiders.
All right.
I like it.
Another upset. Here we go.
Toddy, who do you got? Raiders or Chargers?
Like he was kind of mentioning, I do like the Raiders offense. I do like Jacoby Myers. I like pretty much their whole entire team. They have Gardner Minshew at quarterback. They have Aiden O'Connell's backing them up. I do think the addition of Jim Harbaugh is going to be night and day for the Chargers, especially with Justin Herbert. I get that they lost a lot in their receiving core. I think Lab McConkey is going to be a guy that a lot of people are going to be put on notice about. And I think the Chargers defense is actually really good. They got a lot of great names, Bosa and Khalil Mack, and obviously Derwin James on the back end. I like the Chargers in the spot. So give me Jim Harbaugh getting his first win back in the NFL.
All right, Kaz, who you got? Raiders or Chargers?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's decently high scoring. But I'm gonna roll with the Chargers. With the new coach there, Harbaugh. Now they took the entire Baltimore Ravens backfield, added them there, so they have veterans in the backfield. I understand that doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but if you think about it, I mean, Gus Edwards did not play bad. He found the end zone quite a bit. No problem with the Ravens. When Dobbins comes back, I mean, who knows? But this is the first time that Justin Herbert in that offense has had true ground and pound running backs. Eckler he's a receiving back. You know what I mean? He loves to stay outside of tackles. Now they just changed everything and they got running backs that can run inside the tackles. Okay, and Gus Bus, I mean, he lives there. He has no problem there. So I think that the Chargers' run game's a little slept on. I think that if Justin Herbert does start, which he should, he doesn't need much to get by. You guys understand that this guy has put up massive amounts of yards with an aging Keenan Allen. I'm not trying to knock Keenan Allen. He's a good receiver, but he's not some guy who's just going to he ain't going to outrun anybody. He's not going to, moss anybody. He's just an amazing route runner that can get open, and he'll get his yards, he'll get his catches. So Justin Herbert hasn't really needed much since he's been in the league to get the job done through the air. So hopefully Quentin Johnston shows up as he should. My Lord, he's not. He's on like the Kyle Pitts trajectory, bro. So we'll see, but hopefully he shows up and can help give Herbert some help. But outside of that, I don't really think that. I don't think the Chargers should have a problem. I think that if anything, manage the clock and win a hard fought game. But I think it's going to be decently high scoring, and the Chargers sneak away with a very close win. I think that the Raiders cover though, so probably a 1 point game.
As Javox said, another good comment. QB for Raiders is the downfall. And unfortunately, Josh McDaniels didn't want CJ Stroud. And so now, rather than having CJ Stroud, they're left with just a huge question mark at the position. I got the Chargers in this one. I think Herbert plays, and the Harbaugh era has begun. So now, guys, as Matt Barnes likes to say on All the Smoke, as we have surpassed the 2-hour mark of today's podcast, for these last 5 games, we're going to do it in quick hitter fashion. So we'll just name the game, get our picks, and then we'll get up on out of here. And so, Kyle, the next game is involving your squad. And the thing I wanted to mention earlier that I alluded to is that the Seahawks are going to be wearing these beautiful – I hate the Seahawks. They are going to be wearing these beautiful throwback jerseys from the 90s with their retro colors. And so just wanted to shout that out. But, Kyle – the Seahawks, they host the Broncos. So who you got?
Definitely just got the Seahawks. We're just way more of a complete team.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, we are. Look at our receivers. As much as I don't even like Geno Smith. All right, don't talk about Geno Smith. We're not going to talk about Geno Smith. Sam Howell will be starting quarterback after week 6.
Ooh.
But I think a big step up from Jackson Smith. And
sidestep.
No, big step. Huge step forward from Jackson Smith.
The Ohio State University. Vaughn, who do you got in this one?
I guess Seattle should win. They're favored by 6. I don't know if they cover that number. But I mean, hey, they should win. They're minus 250 to win. I wouldn't take that number, but I mean, is what it is. I guess Seattle wins. I guess.
Kaz, with the Seahawks and the Broncos, who you got?
Yeah, I took Seattle. They're at home, and I'm high on their secondary. I love Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. I told you guys this last week about how I feel Tariq Woolen's going to finish as a CB in the NFL, a top 3 CB. So, yep, Seattle all day. I just think they have the more complete team, and we'll see if Denver is taking a step forward or not based off this game. So,
I think Bo Nix is going to surprise a lot of people in this game.
I think he will, but I think he will, but I think they still lose.
I think our D line is going to give Bo Nix hell.
Well, earlier, Grey Wolf and I were on the same page when it came to Joe Hendry, and Grey Wolf says, Broncos country, I ride and die with my team. Broncos country, let's ride. I got the Denver Broncos winning this game.
Let's go, Shaun.
Here comes the upset. I got the Broncos winning this game. We'll find out who Kevin has in this matchup later on. So we got Tom Brady's first game in the announcer's booth with Dallas at Cleveland. Kyle, who you got?
Dallas at Cleveland. This one might end up being a little closer than people probably expect, but I think the Cowboys should be able to take care of the Browns. The Browns got a great defense, but I think the Cowboys offense should be able to take care of them.
All right, Jaevon, who you got?
I got the Browns. I love the Browns in the spot. The Cowboys aren't good against playoff teams. Last time I checked, Cleveland was in the playoffs last year. This game was almost on the hotline, as Uncle Manny comments. Let's go Cowboys. Yeah, bad spot for them. I think Kyle kind of mentioned the defense. I think the defense the Cleveland defense is one of the best defenses in the league, in my opinion. I think Dak's going to have some problems with that D line. So yeah, give me the Browns.
Javox says, I got Browns 2, Vaughn. Make that 3. I got Cleveland, the reigning defensive player of the year. Myles Garrett, give me the Cleveland Browns. As Cordell says, Browns probably win, and that's even coming from a Steelers fan. But, Kaz, who do you got in this one?
The Cowboys are going to win this game. But I'm taking the Browns to win. Nope. I'm taking the
Politics.
Browns to win,
Love it.
The Cowboys are going to win, but I'm taking the Browns to win because I'm tired of seeing the Cowboys be just even in the mix. I want them to be so bad. I want them to be terrible. I hope they get rolled by 50. I want them just to get annihilated. I want them just to be pulverized into the ground so badly by this Browns team that can do it. But for some reason, they'll find a freaking way to just squeak off a stupid win. Probably Dak Prescott throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb for a touchdown within 1 minute to go or something stupid, and then we got to listen to Cowboys talk for like 7 more weeks. So
Zeke's not the starting running back. Who's the starting running back?
Rico Dowdle, I think.
Yeah,
I don't even know, but it doesn't matter. I'm taking the Browns to win, but the Cowboys are going to win. Browns will win.
All right.
Sorry for the confusion.
It's okay. I would imagine that Kevin is going to probably provide a analysis, as he probably knows the Cowboys are going to win, but he's picking Cleveland. So final three. We got Washington at Tampa Bay. Jaevon, who you got?
Give me the Durs. I'm high on Jaden Daniels and the Durs this year.
I knew that was coming.
I do think they're plus 140 to win. I do think the Bucks are going to be a tough out in that division. Obviously, they re-signed Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans. Another guy to watch out for in this game is Bucky Irvin. I think he'll be a really good addition to this offense. Running back out of Oregon from last year, so he's a rookie. But I think the Commanders, Jaden Daniels is going to turn that franchise around. So give me the Commanders to win.
All right, Kyle, who you got?
I'm definitely going to go a different direction with this one. I'm going to take Tampa Bay. I like Baker Mayfield a lot, actually. And now he gets another year throwing to Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I think he's going to put up numbers again.
Baker Mayfield. Give me Tampa Bay. Kaz, who you got in this one?
Washington.
Let's go.
Ooh, yeah, Washington. I don't know, man. I feel like nobody's talking about Jaden Daniels really. I'm like, why not? Like, look at his weapons. He's got Terry McLaurin there. He's got a good veteran presence. I think that he might even show up and play better than Baker Mayfield. I'm not trying to hate on Baker Mayfield, but I just think that I think Washington's they're taking small, significant steps forward, though. You know what I mean? They're not just doing what New York Giants are doing. They're toying with some things. So I think that Washington pulls off this upset, man. So yeah, Washington all day.
I love that comment.
Man.
Read it real quick for the audio only listeners. Jaevon.
So Gray Wolf says the cycle of Mayfield is in effect.
It certainly is. As well as J-Vox says, Evans is guaranteed 1,000. I mean, one of the most consistent NFL players of all time. That's why he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Final two games, starting out with Sunday Night Football. We got a rematch from the playoffs last year.
Wait for Sunday night. Can't wait.
Who you got, Jaevon?
Give me the Lions. They'll probably cover the spread too. The spread's 3.5. I don't know what the Rams will be this year. I think they regressed a little bit, even though they get Cooper Kupp back. But they did lose one of the greatest defensive line in history, in Aaron Donald. So, would like to see what they look like. I think they got Jared Verse from Florida State in the draft. It's a little bit undersized, but Aaron Donald was undersized. Not saying that he's Aaron Donald, but they would like to see not much too bad of a drop off with this rookie. But I think Matt Stafford's going to go out. He's going to sling it. But I just think the Lions, their team, they're one of the best teams in the league. So give me the Lions to win.
Kyle, these are two teams that will be in front of or fighting with the Seahawks and the Niners for positioning in the NFC playoff picture. Who you got with the Rams at Detroit?
Seahawks playoff picture.
So I think it's definitely going to be a high-scoring game. I'm leaning more towards Detroit just because I like their defense a little bit more. He also did say that Aaron Donald retired. I know they got a couple young guys on their D-line now. They got Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, who are looking promising. So I really just think if the Rams can bottle up the run, I think they have a shot. But otherwise, I got the Lions.
Kaz, who you got in this one so far? That's 2 for 2 on Detroit.
I think Matthew Stafford's going to carve him up. I think Puka Nacua is going to carve him up. think Cooper Kupp's going to carve him. I think that Kyrie Williams is going to carve him up. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Both quarterbacks are going to get their numbers, man. And if Goff doesn't get his numbers, Jahmyr Gibbs he's gonna find the end zone, or he's gonna be the X factor. But I think that the one with the Super Bowl ring gets the dub in this matchup. So I'm going with Matthew Stafford to lead the way and pull off the upset on the road against Detroit.
Yeah, everything about this matchup had me torn because Detroit got their lick back on Stafford last year in the playoffs. They were able to advance. But Matthew Stafford, I feel like he is going to want that revenge now, especially after seeing the Lions go on to the NFC Championship game. But, I mean, kind of same deal as earlier with me writing down New Orleans when I was thinking Panthers. My gut wrote down Detroit. So I'm sticking with Detroit, but I agree with Kaz that Matt Stafford could have a bit of a revenge game of sorts in this one. It could easily go either way, but I'm going to go with Detroit. Final game, Monday Night Football. Jaevon, I'm getting to you last because we know where you and I are picking. Kyle, as the Seahawks fan, Jets at 49ers, Monday Night Football, the return of Aaron Rodgers. Who are you going with?
I'll just say I'm definitely a Niners hater, but you guys should win this one. You guys should take this one. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think, though, for sure, because the Jets' defense is good. You got a healthy Aaron Rodgers for the first time throwing to Garrett Wilson. I think it's going to be a good game for sure.
All right, Kaz. The Niners are obviously a big rival of the Eagles at this point. Are you going to politic, or are you going with the Niners?
I'll take Niners. Yeah, I mean they're at home. They're gonna be coming at Aaron Rodgers like a bat out of hell. So they're gonna try to take him out of the game early, and I think that the Niners offense is going to just not have a problem scoring against that Jets defense. Nothing against the Jets defense. I just think that the Niners offense are going to get a lot of opportunities because the Niners defense is going to be forcing the Jets to turn the ball over a lot. So, yep. Niners will get more opportunities to score than the Jets, and that will help them secure the win.
I think Jay Vox said it perfectly, so I'll just read his comments. 49ers all day. Niners will beat Aaron Rodgers. ... Again. I got the Niners. Jaevon, I think you do too.
I mean, the Niners are the last pick of the hotline, baby. Bring us home. Niners cover the spread at 3.5. I think it's going to be a rocking game. One of my good friends is going to the game. He's a Jets fan, so he's gonna. I saw he posted that he like bought a ticket to the game, and I was like, buying a ticket to watch your team lose is diabolical. But yeah, Niners win. Trent Williams will be back in this game too.
I sure hope so. So before we get up out of here,